Sirens don't care about reputations. When red and blue lights flash in the dark, you become a suspect in someone else's prejudice, no matter your title. For one respected federal judge, a quiet evening walk turned into a brutal lesson about power, bias, and the badge. What happened next would shake an entire police department to its core. The October wind swept through the tree-lined streets of McLean, Virginia. Manicured lawns stretched like emerald carpets, and driveways gleamed with imported cobblestone. Just miles from the heart of Washington, D.C., this quiet neighborhood was home to the Honorable William Harrison. At 62, William had spent 3 decades building an unshakable reputation in American law. A Georgetown law graduate, a former federal prosecutor, and now a judge on the United States Court of Appeals, his name was already being whispered for the nation's highest court. But tonight, William wasn't a man of jurisprudence. He was simply tired, dressed in a faded gray Georgetown hoodie, walking his golden retriever, Barnaby. It was 9:15 p.m. The streets were empty. William let Barnaby sniff a patch of leaves beneath a street lamp, breathing in the cool night air. It had been a grueling week of legal briefs, and this short walk was his only peace. 2 blocks away, Officer Bradley Kincaid cruised slowly in his patrol car, restless and bitter. Passed over for a promotion, Kincaid blamed everyone but himself. A string of burglaries had hit the neighborhood, and he was desperate for a win, desperate to prove his instincts sharper than his captain believed. As his cruiser turned onto Elmwood Drive, his headlights swept over a figure standing beneath the lamp. Kincaid slowed. His eyes narrowed on the black man in a hoodie, the dog forgotten in his mind, replaced by suspicion. A guy like that doesn't belong in a neighborhood like this, he thought coldly. He's casing the block. He killed his headlights and rolled toward the curb. Kincaid threw the cruiser into park and hit the side spotlight, blinding William in a harsh white glare. William squinted, raising a hand. Barnaby whined, pressing against his owner's leg. "Hey, you there! Stand still!" The voice barked from behind the light. William lowered his hand slowly. His heart gave a heavy, dull thump. 30 years in the justice system, and he knew instantly what this was. He had read the case files. He had issued the rulings. But feeling the sudden shift from citizen to suspect was a different kind of cold. Kincaid stepped out, boots echoing on the asphalt, one hand resting on his sidearm. "Evening, officer," William said, his voice calm. "Is there a problem?" "I'll be asking the questions," Kincaid snapped, closing the distance. He looked William over, not seeing exhaustion, only threat. "What are you doing out here tonight?" "Walking my dog," William replied evenly, gesturing to Barnaby, tail wagging furiously. "Whose dog is that? Whose house are you standing in front of?" "The dog is mine. His name is Barnaby. I'm standing in front of the Kensington residence. Richard and Martha Kensington," William answered, holding steady eye contact. Kincaid scoffed. The fact that this man knew the homeowners' names only deepened his suspicion. Probably did his homework before robbing the place, he thought. "Let me see some ID," Kincaid demanded, stepping closer. "I don't have my wallet on me, officer. I live 2 blocks that way," William said, pointing toward his own home. "I stepped out for a quick walk before bed." "No ID," Kincaid repeated, voice rising with manufactured triumph. "Walking around a wealthy neighborhood at night, in a hoodie, looking into driveways, and no identification. Do you think I'm stupid?" "I think you're jumping to conclusions, officer," William said, his tone shifting, the same authoritative calm he used from the bench. "Under long-standing law, you need reasonable suspicion that I've committed a crime to detain me. Walking my dog in my own neighborhood does not meet that standard." Kincaid's face flushed. The mention of law felt like a personal insult. Who is this guy? Some armchair lawyer? "Listen to me, pal," Kincaid hissed, jabbing a finger toward William's chest. "We've had burglaries here. You fit the profile. And now you're getting smart with a police officer. That's a good way to end up face down on the pavement. I am not getting smart. I am stating my rights. I have committed no crime, nor am I suspected of one. If I am not under arrest, I will continue walking my dog home." William turned slightly, preparing to step away. "You aren't going anywhere," Kincaid barked. Before William could move, Kincaid lunged, grabbing him roughly by the shoulder and spinning him around with unnecessary force. Barnaby barked sharply, startled, jumping up in alarm. "Control the damn dog, or I'll put it down," Kincaid yelled, unsnapping his holster. For the first time that night, genuine anger flashed across William's calm face. "Do not threaten my dog," he said, his voice dropping low, carrying a weight that made even Kincaid pause. William quickly shortened the leash, pulling Barnaby close and commanding him to sit. The well-trained dog obeyed, though he kept whining. "Hands on the hood of the car, now," Kincaid ordered, pulling out his handcuffs. William took a slow breath. He had dedicated his life to the rule of law, but he also knew that arguing with an adrenaline-fueled, biased officer on a dark street was the most dangerous thing a black man could do, regardless of his title. The street was not a courtroom. The street had no gavel, only guns. He would fight this, but in the arena he commanded. Without another word, William walked to the cruiser and placed his hands flat on the cold metal hood. Kincaid smirked, savoring the rush of control. He kicked William's feet apart and patted him down roughly, finding nothing but a small bag for dog waste and a house key. "Nothing on you, huh? Smart. Leave the tools in the bushes. Pick them up later," Kincaid muttered, twisting even innocence into guilt. He yanked William's wrists behind his back and clamped the cuffs down hard. The metal bit into his skin. "Officer," William said quietly, his cheek against the cruiser. "These cuffs are too tight. I have nerve damage in my left hand." "Tell it to the medic at the station," Kincaid replied, shoving him toward the back door. Across the street, a porch light flicked on. An elderly widow peered through her curtains. William saw her. He could have shouted his name. He could have ended this instantly. But a deep sense of principle held him silent. If he used his position to escape, he would only be an exception, not the rule. He needed to see, firsthand, how this officer treated someone with no voice at all. "What about my dog?" William asked, as Kincaid pushed his head down toward the back seat. "Animal control will pick him up." "No," William said, his voice hardening. "Tie his leash to the Kensington's fence. Their lights are on. They'll take him in." Kincaid rolled his eyes, but, wanting to avoid the paperwork, obliged, tying Barnaby to the fence, ignoring his distressed whimpers, before slamming the cruiser door shut. The back of the police car smelled of stale sweat and cheap air freshener. The hard seat offered no comfort as the cuffs dug deeper into William's wrists. Kincaid slid into the driver's seat, grinning as he keyed his radio. "Dispatch, this is Unit 4. I have a suspect matching the description of our neighborhood prowler, transporting to the 12th Precinct." "Copy that, Unit 4, the dispatcher crackled back. As they pulled away from the quiet, wealthy streets toward the bustling commercial district, Kincaid glanced at William through the rearview mirror, unable to resist gloating. "You guys never learn, do you?" he sneered. "Think you can wander into nice neighborhoods, take what people worked for, and disappear into the dark? Not on my watch." William sat in the shadows, his face lit intermittently by passing streetlights. Silently, he was cataloging every violation Kincaid was committing. Unlawful detention, force arrest, excessive force. "What is your name and badge number, officer?" William asked evenly. "Officer Bradley Kincaid, badge 4872, Kincaid said proudly. "Go ahead and memorize it. You can spell it right on the complaint form they'll throw in the trash." "I assure you, Officer Kincaid," William murmured, a quiet, dangerous calm settling over him. "I will not forget it." 20 minutes later, they arrived at the 12th Precinct, loud, chaotic, and bathed in flickering fluorescent light. Phones rang endlessly. A man in the corner shouted obscenities while being processed. Kincaid hauled William through the double glass doors, gripping his arm. "Got a live one for you, Pawson," Kincaid called to the desk sergeant, a heavy-set, exhausted-looking man behind a mountain of paperwork. Sergeant Pawson looked up. Unlike Kincaid, Pawson had been on the job a long time. He had an instinct for reading people. Most suspects brought in were frantic or terrified. This man stood perfectly straight, chin level, his eyes sweeping the room with quiet, analytical calm. He didn't look like a burglar. He looked like he was inspecting the precinct. "What's the charge, Brad?" Pawson asked, sighing. "Prowling, loitering, suspect in the Elmwood burglaries," Kincaid rattled off. "Caught encasing the Kensington place. Refused ID. Got mouthy." "I see," Pawson said, typing slowly. He looked at William. "Name, sir?" Before William could answer, Kincaid cut in. "He's playing games. Wouldn't give me his name on the street." "I was not asked for my name," William corrected calmly. "I was asked for physical identification, which I did not have. Had Officer Kincaid asked my name, I would have given it." Kincaid scoffed. "All right then, let's hear it. Who are you?" William looked directly at Sergeant Pawson, ignoring Kincaid entirely. "My name is William Harrison." Pawson paused, fingers hovering over the keys. The name sounded familiar, the kind that floated through the region, attached to news segments and high-profile rulings. "Date of birth?" "September 14th, 1963. "Address?" 412 Elmwood Drive, McLean, Virginia. Kincaid let out a mocking laugh. "Yeah, right. 412 Elmwood is a $6 million estate, buddy. You expect us to believe you live there?" William turned his head slowly, and the look on his face was not anger. It was profound, quiet pity. It was the look of a grand master watching a novice move his queen into a fatal trap. "I don't expect you to believe anything, Officer Kincaid," William said softly. "But I do expect the sergeant to run a background check. You'll find my fingerprints are already in the federal database." Pawson's brow furrowed. He hit enter, running the name and birth date through the National Crime Database. The machine hummed. Then the screen blinked. A red banner appeared across the top, signaling a high-level government clearance file. Pawson leaned in. He read it once, then again. The color drained from his face, as though he'd just watched a ghost walk through the precinct doors. He looked up, from the screen, to William, and finally to Kincaid, leaning smugly against the counter. "Brad," Pawson said, his voice cracking. "Take the cuffs off him." "Excuse me?" Kincaid snapped, his grin faltering. "Are you out of your mind? I just brought this guy in for prowling. He's uncooperative."
"Brad," Pawson interrupted, his voice dropping to a low, dangerous whisper. "I said take the damn handcuffs off him right now, or I swear I will strip you of your badge myself before this shift is over." The entire front desk went silent. Even the shouting man in the corner stopped, sensing the sudden shift in the room. Kincaid blinked, genuinely stunned. He looked from Pawson's pale face to William's eerily calm one. Grumbling, he unclipped his keys and unlocked the cuffs. William brought his arms forward slowly, wincing as blood rushed back into his wrists. Deep red marks circled his skin. He didn't rub them. He simply stood tall, adjusted his hoodie sleeves, and fixed his eyes on Sergeant Pawson. "Thank you, Sergeant," William said, his voice ringing with quiet authority. "Now, I believe you were about to inform Officer Kincaid exactly who he just assaulted and unlawfully detained." Kincaid leaned over the desk, squinting at the monitor. He read the clearance banner. He read the name. He read the title. William Harrison, United States Circuit Judge, Court of Appeals. A cold, leaden weight dropped into Kincaid's stomach. The blood drained from his face so fast he felt dizzy. "No," Kincaid stammered, shaking his head. That's impossible. It's a glitch, a stolen identity. Judges don't walk around in sweatpants at 9 at night. Judges live on Elmwood Drive, officer, William corrected, his gaze turning sharp. And they are entitled to walk their dogs on public sidewalks without being profiled, assaulted, and stripped of their constitutional rights by the very officers sworn to protect them. Before Kincaid could stammer another defense, the heavy wooden door to the back offices swung open. Captain Miller stepped out, a steaming mug of coffee in hand, a grizzled, no-nonsense veteran who spent half his time managing crime statistics and the other half managing the fragile egos of the county's wealthiest residents. "Paulson, what is all this shouting about?" Miller barked, stepping toward the counter. He took a sip of coffee and glanced at the man standing before the desk. Miller stopped dead. He lowered his mug. He had attended a county law enforcement gala just 3 weeks earlier. He had sat 2 tables away from the very man now standing in his lobby, wearing a faded hoodie and angry red marks around his wrists. "Judge Harrison," Captain Miller said, his voice a mix of shock and horror. "What in the world are you doing here? Good God, what happened to your wrists?" "Captain Miller," William greeted him with a sharp, polite nod. "It seems your department has instituted a new policy regarding evening walks in McLean. I was detained without cause, searched, and brought here by Officer Kincaid, who informed me I fit the profile of a burglar." Miller whipped around to stare at Kincaid, his eyes lethal. "You arrested a sitting federal appellate judge?" Miller roared, his voice making several nearby officers jump. "You dragged a judge out of his own neighborhood." "Captain, he was loitering. He didn't have ID," Kincaid stammered, his arrogance evaporated, replaced by the pathetic whimper of a bully who had just picked a fight with a heavyweight champion. "He was standing in front of Richard Kensington's house," Miller exploded. "The man lives 2 doors down from him. Are you completely incompetent, Kincaid? Do you understand the magnitude of what you've done?" "The magnitude, Captain Miller, goes far beyond my title," William interrupted, his voice calm but commanding. He didn't need to shout. The weight of his words alone anchored the room. He stepped closer to the counter. "My title is merely the reason you are paying attention right now. But let me be clear. The tragedy here is not that Officer Kincaid arrested a judge. The tragedy is that Officer Kincaid arrested a citizen solely because of the color of his skin and the neighborhood he stood in." William turned slowly to face Kincaid, who was now visibly trembling. "You told me on the street that people like me never learn," William said, quoting Kincaid's own words. "You assumed I was a criminal because my presence in that zip code didn't fit your prejudice. You violated my constitutional rights. You used excessive force. If this is how you treat a man who knows the law inside and out, I shudder to think what you do to a frightened young man who doesn't have the words to defend himself." "Judge Harrison, please," Captain Miller said, his tone desperate, already trying to control the damage. "I apologize profusely. This is a massive failure on our part. We will handle this internally. Kincaid will face severe disciplinary action. Let me have a cruiser drive you home. We can put this behind us." "We will not put this behind us, Captain," William replied firmly. "And this will not be handled quietly to protect your department's image. Law enforcement depends on public trust, and officers like Kincaid are a cancer to that trust." William reached into his hoodie pocket. Everyone tensed slightly, but he only pulled out a small notepad and pen. He jotted something down, tore off the sheet, and slid it across the counter to Captain Miller. "Tomorrow morning, my office will file a formal civil rights complaint with the Department of Justice," William stated. "I am officially requesting an independent federal audit of this precinct's arrest records, specifically Officer Kincaid's history of detentions and probable cause reports over the last 5 years. I suspect we will find a deeply disturbing pattern." Kincaid let out a choked gasp. A federal audit didn't just mean losing his job. It meant potential federal charges. It meant prison. "Judge, please, my pension, my family," Kincaid pleaded, stepping forward. William raised a hand, stopping him in his tracks. "You did not consider my family when you threatened to shoot my dog," You did not consider my humanity when you mocked my pain. The law is not a weapon for you to use against those you deem unworthy, Officer Kincaid. It is a shield for the vulnerable. You have forgotten that, and now you will face the very justice system you have so recklessly abused. William turned back to Captain Miller. I do not want a ride in one of your cruisers. I will walk back to Elmwood Drive. Send an officer, someone other than Kincaid, to the Kensington residence to inform them I am unharmed. I will be collecting my dog myself. Right away, Your Honor, Captain Miller said, his shoulders sagging in defeat. As William turned to leave, he paused at the double-glass doors and looked back at Kincaid one final time. You told me to memorize your badge number so I could spell it right on the complaint form, William said softly, his words echoing through the silent precinct. Badge 4872. I assure you, officer, I have a flawless memory. He pushed through the doors and stepped out into the cool October night. Behind him, chaos erupted. Captain Miller immediately demanded Kincaid's badge and sidearm, placing him on unpaid administrative leave, pending a full internal and federal investigation. The officer who had started the night hunting for a power trip was left stripped of his authority, weeping in the break room as his career collapsed around him. 40 minutes later, William Harrison arrived back at the Kensington estate. Richard Kensington stood on his porch in a bathrobe, visibly relieved, holding Barnaby's leash. The moment the golden retriever saw William, he barked joyously, pulling free to run toward his owner. William dropped to one knee on the manicured lawn, wincing slightly as his sore wrists took his weight, and buried his face in Barnaby's soft fur. He breathed in the cool night air. The street was quiet again. The beautiful houses stood like silent sentinels in the dark. William had survived the night, not because he was a judge, but because he had remained calm in the face of injustice. Yet as he looked down the empty, affluent street, he knew his fight wasn't over. It was simply moving from the pavement back to the courtroom, where he would ensure the darkness of prejudice was always met with the impartial light of justice. In the days that followed, the story of Judge William Harrison's arrest spread far beyond McLean. His formal complaint to the Department of Justice triggered a sweeping federal audit of the county police department. Investigators combed through 5 years of Officer Bradley Kincaid's arrest records, and the pattern William had suspected proved disturbingly real. Dozens of stops, disproportionately targeting black residents, many lacking any documented probable cause. Kincaid was formally terminated within the month. Facing mounting evidence and public pressure, the district attorney's office opened a criminal review into his conduct, examining potential charges of civil rights violations and unlawful use of force. The badge he had once worn with careless pride was gone, along with the career he had built on assumption rather than justice. Captain Miller, humbled by the ordeal, implemented sweeping reforms across the precinct: mandatory bias training, stricter oversight of stop-and-search procedures, and a new civilian review board to monitor complaints. It was not enough to undo what had happened, but it was a beginning. As for William, he returned to his life much as before, reviewing appellate briefs, walking Barnaby each evening along the quiet streets of McLean. But something in him had shifted. He began speaking publicly about that night, not to seek sympathy, but to remind others in power that titles offer protection few others have. He testified before a Senate committee weeks later, his voice steady as he described the chilling moment the spotlight hit his face and the world reduced him to nothing but a suspect. Power, he told the committee, must never be allowed to whisper injustice simply because ignorance is louder. A badge is a shield for the vulnerable. The moment it becomes a weapon against them, everything we call justice collapses. On a crisp evening months later, William walked the same stretch of Elmwood Drive, Barnaby trotting beside him, tail wagging beneath the same street lamp where it had all begun. The Kensington house glowed warmly in the dusk. Mrs. Higgins waved from her porch, and William waved back, unhurried, unafraid. He paused beneath the lamplight, looking up at the quiet stars above the tree-lined street. The night had once tried to reduce him to nothing but the color of his skin and the clothes on his back. It had failed, and because he had stood his ground, quietly, deliberately, without raising his voice, an entire system had been forced to look at itself in the mirror. Justice, William often said, does not always arrive with sirens and shouting. Sometimes it arrives in silence, patience, and an unshakable belief that the truth, given enough time, always finds the light.